The air in the living room was thick with tension, the kind that made every breath feel heavy. Emma stood by the doorway, her fingers gripping the strap of her bag like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. Across from her, her younger sister Lily was red-faced, tears streaking her cheeks as she shouted, "You ruined everything. Mom and Dad were fine before you came back." Their parents, usually the mediators, stood slightly behind Lily, their silence louder than any agreement. Emma's chest tightened. She had known coming home after losing her job would stir up old tensions, but this felt like a knife twisting. "So that's it?" Emma's voice was quieter than she intended, barely above a whisper. "You all really think I'm the problem?" Her mother looked away and her father sighed, rubbing his temples. No one answered. The weight of their silence pressed down on her until she couldn't take it anymore. Without another word, she turned and walked out, the slam of the door echoing. Behind her, the night was cool, the streetlights casting long shadows as Emma drove aimlessly, her mind racing. She ended up at a 24-hour diner, the kind with sticky vinyl booths and coffee that tastes like burnt cardboard. The waitress, an older woman with tired eyes, slid a cup toward her without asking. "Rough night?" she murmured. Emma almost laughed. Rough night? More like a rough life. She sipped the bitter coffee, replaying the argument in her head. Why did Lily blame her? And why did their parents just let her? Her phone buzzed in her pocket once, twice, then stopped. She ignored. It dawned by the time the sun rose. She had checked into a motel, the kind with thin walls and a flickering neon sign. She tossed her phone onto the bed, and for the first time noticed the notifications. 14 missed calls, all from home. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Part of her wanted to throw it against the wall. The other part, the smaller, quieter part, wondered what could have happened in just a few hours to make them call so desperately. She took a deep breath. Whatever it was, it could wait. Right now, she needed to figure out why her family saw her as the villain in their story, and whether she even wanted to be part of it anymore. The motel room smelled like stale air and old carpet, but Emma barely noticed. She sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, staring at the screen as if it might reveal some hidden truth. 14 calls, 14. That wasn't just guilt, that was panic. Her thumb twitched over the callback button, but she hesitated. What if they just wanted to yell at her again? What if this was another round of blame disguised as concern? A knock at the door made her jump. For a wild second, she wondered if they'd somehow tracked her down, but no. Her parents didn't even know this motel existed. She peered through the peephole and saw a teenager in a faded uniform holding a paper bag. Right, the greasy takeout she'd ordered but now had no appetite for. She opened the door just enough to take the bag, muttering a thanks before shutting it again. The smell of fries made her stomach turn. Her phone buzzed again this time. A text. Not from her parents. From her old college friend Jess. "Hey, are you alive? Lily called me freaking out. Said you left and no one knows where you are." Emma exhaled sharply. Of course Lily would loop Jess into this. She typed back, "I'm fine. Just need space." The reply was instant. Okay, but she sounded really upset. Like, not just mad, scared. Emma frowned. Scared? Lily had been furious, not frightened. What changed? She tossed the phone onto the bed and paced the cramped room. Maybe she should call. Just one call to see what the hell was going on. But the thought of hearing her sister's voice, sharp with accusation again, made her chest ache. Instead, she grabbed her keys. If she was going to thank, she needed air that didn't smell like motel disinfectant. The parking lot was half empty, the morning sun too bright for her sleepless eyes. She leaned against her car, the metal warm under her palms, and replayed last night's fight in her head. Lily's words had been vicious, but there'd been something underneath, something raw and desperate. "You ruined everything." Like Emma's return had broken some unspoken balance. But what balance? She'd only been back for 3 weeks. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Another call. This time, she pulled it out and froze. It wasn't her parents. It wasn't Lily. The caller ID flashed a name she hadn't seen in years. Daniel. Her high school boyfriend. The one who'd vanished without a word a decade ago. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the screen. Daniel? Why would he be calling her now out of nowhere after all this time? Her finger hovered over the answer button, but the call ended before she could decide. A voicemail notification popped up. She hesitated, then pressed play, holding the phone to her ear like it might bite. Emma ... hey. His voice was deeper than she remembered, but the same quiet hesitation was there. I know this is weird, but I just heard from my mom that you're back in town, and there's something you need to know. About your family. About why they've been... A muffled sound like he'd covered the receiver. Then, just call me back, please. The message ended, leaving her pulse pounding in her ears. Something you need to know. What did that mean? And why would Daniel of all people have any insight into her family's mess? She scrolled through. Her recent calls, thumb hovering over his number when another incoming call flashed. Mom. Emma exhaled sharply. She couldn't deal with both of these at once. She silenced the call and shoved the phone back into her pocket, her mind spinning. Daniel's message gnawed at her. Had he kept tabs on her all these years? Or was this just some bizarre coincidence? She got back into her car, gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. The diner. She needed coffee, something to steady her nerves before she made any decisions. The same waitress from last night raised an eyebrow when Emma slid into a booth. Back so soon? She asked, refilling a customer's cup nearby. Emma forced a smile. Long story. The waitress nodded like she'd heard it all before and poured her a fresh cup without asking. Emma wrapped her hands around the warmth, staring into the dark liquid. She should call Daniel back. She should call her mom. But which one would give her answers and which one would just drag her deeper into the storm? Her phone buzzed again. Another text. This time from Lily. Emma, please. It's not what you think. Just come home. Emma's stomach twisted. Not what she thought? Then what was it? She pulled up Daniel's contact. Before she could second-guess herself, she hit the call. The phone rang once, twice, then a click. For a second, there was only silence, and Emma wondered if he'd changed. His mind. Then a sharp inhale. Emma, Daniel's voice was low, urgent. You got my message. She tightened her grip on the phone. Yeah, and I have no idea why you're calling me after 10 years to talk about my family. A pause. Then, because they've been lying to you. The words hit like a physical blow. Emma's pulse roared in her ears. What are you talking about? Not over the phone. His tone was firm now. Meet me. The old bridge by Miller's Creek, you remember it? She did. It was where they'd skipped school as teenagers, where he'd kissed her for the first time. Where he'd promised, the summer before he disappeared, that he'd never leave her. Why there? She demanded. Because no one else goes there anymore. A beat? And because you'll know I'm not lying when you see what I have to show you. Emma's mind raced. This could be a mistake. A trap, but the raw edge in his voice, the same one he'd had when he told her his father used to hit him, made her hesitate. 1 hour, she said finally. Good, he exhaled. And Emma? Don't tell anyone. You're coming. The line went dead. She sat frozen, the diner noise fading around her. Lies. What kind of lies? About her job loss? About why Lily blamed her? Her phone buzzed again, another call from her mother. She ignored it, throwing cash on the table as she stood. The waitress caught her arm as she passed. Kid, she said quietly, you look like you're about to walk into a hurricane. Emma met her eyes. I think I already did. The bell over the door jingled as she stepped into the sunlight, toward the one person who might hold the truth, and the one place that held all her best and worst memories. The gravel crunched under. Emma's tires as she pulled up to the overgrown path leading to Miller's Creek. The bridge once sturdy, and sun-bleached now sagged in the middle, its wooden planks weathered by years of neglect. She killed the engine and sat for a moment, watching the creek ripple below. This place used to feel like a secret paradise. Now it just felt like a ghost. A shadow moved near the far end of the bridge. Daniel. He looked older, his dark hair shorter. His shoulders broader, but the way he shoved his hands in his pockets when he was nervous was exactly the same. Emma hesitated, then stepped out of the car. The air smelled like damp earth and pine needles. "You came," he said when she was halfway across the bridge. His voice was steadier now, but his eyes kept darting to the trees behind her, like he expected. "Someone to follow." Emma crossed her arms. "Start talking." Daniel reached into his jacket and pulled out a yellowed envelope. "My mom found this when she was cleaning out my dad's stuff after he died last year. It's addressed to your parents. Postmarked the summer I left." Emma's throat went dry. That summer had been a black hole in her life, Daniel, gone without warning. Her parents tight-lipped when she'd sobbed for answers. She took the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was a single sheet of paper, the ink faded but legible. Too. "The Harris family, per our agreement, enclosed is the final payment for your silence regarding the accident. Remember one word to anyone, especially Emma, and the deal is void." The signature was illegible. Emma's vision blurred. What accident? Daniel's? Jaw tightened. "That's what I've been trying to figure out. But I know this much: my dad paid your parents off for something. And whatever it was, it happened right before they forced me to move to my aunt's in Colorado." He stepped closer. "Emma, I didn't leave because I wanted to. They made me go." The world tilted. All these years, she'd thought he'd abandoned her. But the dates lined up: Daniel vanishing, her parents suddenly able to afford Lily's private school, the way her dad had started flinching at sirens. A twig snapped. In the woods behind them. Daniel's head whipped around. "We need to go," he muttered, grabbing her arm. "Now." Emma yanked free. "No, not until you tell me." Headlights cut through the trees. A car door slammed. "Emma." Lily's voice. Emma spun toward the sound, her heart hammering against her ribs. Lily stood at the edge of the clearing, her face pale under the dim glow of the headlights. She looked younger, somehow smaller in her oversized sweatshirt, her hands clenched at her sides. Daniel stiffened beside her. "Emma," but Lily was already rushing forward, her voice breaking. "You can't be here with him." Emma stepped between them, holding up a hand. "Stop. Just stop." She turned to Daniel, her voice low. "What aren't you telling me?" His gaze flicked to Lily, then back to Emma. "It wasn't just money, Emma. It was a cover-up. And your sister—" "Shut up." "Lily's!" Scream echoed across the creek. Tears streaked her face now. "You don't get to come back and ruin everything again." Emma's breath caught. "Again?" Before she could react, Lily lunged forward, grabbing the envelope from Emma's hand. The papers tore as they struggled, fragments fluttering to the ground like dead leaves. "Lily, what are you doing?" Emma demanded. Her sister's chest heaved. "Protecting you," she whispered. "Like I always have?" A car engine growled in the distance, tires spitting gravel. Daniel's head snapped up. "We need to leave now." He grabbed Emma's wrist, but she yanked free. "No, not until someone tells me the truth." She turned to Lily, her voice shaking. "What happened that summer?" Lily's lips trembled. The headlights grew brighter, closer. And then, softly, "You really don't remember?" The words slithered down Emma's spine. "Remember what?" The roar of the approaching engine drowned out the crickets. Emma's skin prickled, not from the cold, but from the way Lily was looking at her, like she was a bomb about to detonate. "Remember what, Lily?" Emma pressed, stepping closer. The torn pieces of the envelope crunched under her shoes. Lily opened her mouth, but headlights suddenly flooded the clearing. A black SUV skidded to a stop. And the door swung open. Their father, he looked older in the harsh light, his face shadowed with stubble and something else fear. Anger? Emma couldn't tell. His gaze locked onto Daniel first, then the shredded paper on the ground. His expression hardened. "Get in the car," he said, voice low. "Both of you, now." Lily moved immediately, but Emma stood her ground. Not until someone explains what the hell is going on. Her father's jaw twitched. "This isn't the place." Daniel shifted beside her. "She deserves to know, Mr. Harris." "You," her father spat, "have no right to be here." He took a step forward, but Emma blocked him. "Stop." She turned to Lily, whose knuckles were white around the remaining scrap of paper. "You said you were protecting me. From what?" Lily's breath hitched. "From remembering." A sick feeling coiled in Emma's gut. Remembering. The word triggered something, a flash of images she couldn't grasp. Headlights. Rain. Daniel's voice cut through the haze. "That summer, Emma, the night I left, there was an accident. Her..." Father lunged forward, but it was too late. The memory hit her like a truck dot wet asphalt. A sharp turn. The deer in the road, her hands on the wheel. Emma staggered back. "Oh my God." Lily's tears spilled over. "You swerved." The world tilted. Emma's knees buckled, but Daniel caught her arm. Her father's face crumpled. "It wasn't your fault," he whispered, but the truth was already stitching itself together in her mind. The accident. The cover-up. The money dot, she was the reason Daniel had disappeared, and her family had been lying to her for a decade. Emma's legs gave out. She sank onto the damp ground, the weight of the memory crushing her. The deer, the skid. The sickening lurch as the car flipped. She'd woken up in the hospital with a concussion and no recollection of the crash. Just a hollow fear that something terrible had happened, and her parents had let her believe it was just a simple accident. Daniel knelt beside her, his voice barely audible over the rush of the creek. "I tried to tell you back then, but my dad... he made sure I couldn't." Lily hugged herself, shivering despite the warm night. "They said it was better if you didn't remember, that it would destroy you." Emma stared at her father, whose shoulders slumped under an invisible weight. "You paid off Daniel's family?" Her voice cracked. "You sent him away." Her father's throat worked. "We were scared. You were barely 18, facing charges could have ruined your life. And when Daniel's father offered to keep quiet for a settlement, he trailed off, the unspoken we took it hanging in the air." Bitter laugh escaped Emma's lips. "So instead, you ruined his life." She looked at Daniel, really looked at him. The faint scar above his eyebrow from the crash, the way he still held himself like someone expecting a blow. "You lost everything because of me." Daniel shook his head. "It wasn't your fault." "The roads were slick. The deer came out of nowhere. But I was driving." The words tore out of her. All these years, her family had treated her like a fragile thing, walking on eggshells, never pushing too hard. Now she knows why. They'd been waiting for the other shoe to drop. Lily sniffled. "We just wanted to protect you. By lying..." Emma shot to her feet, anger burning through the numbness. "By making me think I was crazy every time I felt like something was missing. By letting me believe I was the problem." Her father reached for her, then dropped his hand. "We were wrong. But we were desperate." The SUV's headlights flickered, casting long shadows across the broken bridge. Emma turned to Daniel. "Why now? Why come back after all this time?" He held her gaze. "Because you deserve the truth, and because... He hesitated, then pulled a folded photo from his pocket, a snapshot of them at graduation, grinning under a glittering congrats banner. "I never stopped wondering what might have been." Emma's breath hitched. All those years of guilt, of unanswered questions, of feeling like an outsider in her own family, it wasn't about blame. It was about fear. And fear, she realized, was sudden. Clarity was a prison they'd all built together. Emma took the photo from Daniel's hands, the edges worn soft from time. Their younger selves smiled back, frozen in a moment before everything shattered. She traced the crease between them, a fold that had split the image in half, as if even then, the universe knew they wouldn't stay whole. Her father cleared his throat, his voice rough. We can't change what happened, but we can stop hiding. From it, Lily wiped her cheeks with her sleeve. I'm sorry, she whispered, for blaming you, for all of it. The anger in Emma's chest flickered, then dimmed. They were all broken by this, her father's guilt, Lily's misplaced protectiveness, Daniel's stolen years, and her. She'd been walking through life with a hole in her memory, never understanding why she felt like she didn't quite belong in her own skin. Daniel nudged her shoulder gently. You okay? She wasn't, but for the first time in years, the ground beneath her felt solid. I will be. Her father exhaled, shoulders sagging. Come home, Emma. We'll figure this out together. Home. The word tasted different, now not a place of secrets, but one where the truth, however painful, was finally out in the open. Emma glanced at Daniel. You coming? He hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, I think it's time. As they walked back to the cars, the first light of dawn crept over the trees. Lily fell into step beside Emma, their elbows brushing. For what it's worth, she murmured, I missed you. Emma looped an arm around her sister's shoulders, pulling her close. I missed you too. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. There were apologies to make, wounds to heal, a past to untangle. But for the first time in a long time, Emma didn't feel like running. She felt ready to face whatever came next.